NVIDIA, they already control the brains of AI, but now it's trying to control the infrastructure that keeps those brains alive. So the next phase of the AI race may actually not be decided by who makes the fastest chip. It could actually be decided by who solves the power, the cooling, and all of the financing problems that determine whether those chips can be deployed at scale. Well, NVIDIA is positioning itself right in the middle of that build-out. And in this video, you're going to learn what's changing inside the AI infrastructure market, why the bottlenecks around power and capital could matter just as much as GPU demand, and how all of that could affect NVIDIA stock over the next few years. But before we begin, if you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Rick Orford. I'm a Wall Street Journal bestselling author, been trading since 1999, and no, I'm not a financial advisor. But that's a good thing, because I'm right here with you breaking down the numbers so retail investors like us can make smarter, more confident decisions with our money. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. And you all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by almost 6 times. Go to fool.com/Ricko to get your 10 stock picks right now. All right, so NVIDIA has spent years making its GPUs the brains of AI. But as those systems get larger, another problem is getting harder to ignore. What happens when there isn't enough power, cooling, or even money to keep all those GPUs running? Well, that's where NVIDIA's strategy is expanding. The company is moving beyond the accelerator and into the infrastructure that's surrounding it, from power and cooling to AI factories. And the stock has gained about 20% over the past year and even 3% over the past month. Shares have traded in a range of $164 and $237 over the past 52 weeks. Now, if you like NVIDIA but think right now just too expensive for you to own, but maybe you'd rather buy it 15 or 20% below where it's trading today. Well, if that's the case, check this video up here, because I talk about how you can sell a put option on a stock you'd like to own, like NVIDIA, but you get paid to wait for it to maybe come down to your price. Now, if it does come down to your price, you get to buy the stock at that lower price, but you got paid while you waited. So what are you really buying when you buy NVIDIA? Is it just the most important chips in AI, or are you buying the technology architecture that the AI infrastructure market is more and more being built around? Well, for years, the AI infrastructure race was about getting the most amount of GPUs online as fast as possible. But that changes as AI factories become larger and more power hungry. AI factories, by the way, are just data centers built specifically to produce AI computing at massive scale. Once these facilities get big enough, the limiting factor isn't always the chip. It can be the electricity that's needed to keep all those GPUs running. And on August 11th, NVIDIA introduced its 800 VDC power architecture for AI factories. And the idea here is straightforward. Move electricity through the data center with fewer conversion steps, so more power reaches high-density AI systems. Now, if you enjoy breaking down companies just like this, I want to invite you to join my community. It's one of the fastest growing investing communities here on YouTube, where we talk about specific companies, what they're doing, and even options trading strategies. Best part is it's completely free to join. Just scan the QR code right here on the screen or check for the link and click it in the description. Now, why does NVIDIA even care about how electricity gets into the rack in the first place? Well, NVIDIA expects its first 800 VDC power racks in the second half of 2026, and that'll be followed by a row power center designed to support up to 2 megawatts per row in 2027. And now, that moves NVIDIA's influence beyond the chip and closer to the facility's electrical design. But getting enough electricity into the rack, it only solves half the problem. The other half is getting the heat back out. Now, Vera Rubin NVL72 is designed around a 45 degrees Celsius liquid cooling inlet temperature, which can allow chiller-free, dry cooler operation in suitable facilities. And NVIDIA also reported that CoreWeave's first Rubin benchmark produced about 10 times more tokens per second per megawatt than Grace Blackwell NVL72. Now, tokens per second per megawatt. This just shows you how much AI work a system produces for the power it consumes. For operators, that matters because power can limit how much compute they can deploy. And what happens when the chips get faster, but the data center can't keep them cool enough to run efficiently? Well, that creates a new bottleneck, already driving demand for companies like Vertiv. On July 22nd, Vertiv announced investments that's expected to double regional chiller production capacity by the end of this year. And 2 days later, Vertiv showed off how the ecosystem works by supplying power, liquid cooling, and installation services for an NVIDIA DGX GB300 deployment at the Naval Postgraduate School. Notice what's happening here? NVIDIA doesn't need to manufacture every cooling system or electrical component. The bigger question is whether suppliers such as Vertiv and Eaton can build around NVIDIA's blueprint. If that happens, NVIDIA isn't influencing only the performance of the chips. It's also influencing how the physical infrastructure around those chips get designed. And that's important because the next bottleneck I'm going to talk about isn't even technical. Let me hear me out here. Even if an AI factory can get built, someone still has to pay for it. Well, on August 10th, NVIDIA announced agreements with Apollo, BlackRock, and other major financial institutions to create financing platforms that are designed to mobilize more than $500 billion of third-party capital over time. Now, NVIDIA it doesn't need to raise $500 billion, and it hasn't committed to that amount itself. The significance here is that the company is helping customers finance AI factories that could cost billions before they generate revenue. So what happens when the technology is ready, the demand is there, but the customer still can't finance the facility? Well, that's the exact gap that NVIDIA is trying to close. The company wants investors to see these facilities as long-term assets that generate revenue after they're built, and that could create a useful cycle here. Financial institutions, they provide the money, the capital, the developers, they build the facilities, and customers pay for the compute. NVIDIA can then supply the processors, the networking, and the software that all make those facilities productive. And the financing initiative, it reaches outside NVIDIA's traditional business. Instead of waiting for customers to solve the funding problem, NVIDIA is helping build financial machinery that can turn AI demand into physical infrastructure. Still, of course, there is another important limit to the story. These financing arrangements are planned structures and memorandums. None of this is committed spending. So, the question isn't whether the headline sounds large, it's how much of that framework becomes real AI infrastructure that needs NVIDIA's technology. And now, of course, the story gets bigger than individual companies because AI factories are starting to look more like national infrastructure. As an example, on July 16th, NVIDIA announced a 140 megawatt Vera Rubin AI factory in Japan, and that was supported by Japan's Ministry of Economy. The facility will use 27,500 Rubin GPUs and 13,750 Vera CPUs, and it'll be built around NVIDIA's DSX architecture. And South Korea, they're taking the idea further. SK Telecom, it plans to build a 2 gigawatt NVIDIA Vera Rubin DSX AI factory, with the first facility planned for next year. Naver and Brookfield are also working with NVIDIA to expand a Korean AI factory from 55 megawatts to over 200 by 2028, with a longer-term goal of gigawatt-scale sovereign AI infrastructure. And of course, sovereign AI is computing capacity that a country wants under its own strategic control. And that makes NVIDIA's role bigger than just selling chips to private data centers. I mean, once governments treat AI capacity like strategic infrastructure, that design standard, it matters. If countries build around NVIDIA's architecture from the start, switching later on will become far more complicated than just swapping one accelerator for another. But of course, power, cooling, and financing doesn't still solve the entire problem. These processors inside these giant facilities, they also have to communicate with each other fast enough so they can work as one. Well, on July 21st, NVIDIA introduced Spectrum 6, a 102.4 terabit per second Ethernet switching system that's designed to connect hundreds of thousands of GPUs and CPUs inside gigascale AI factory. So gigascale refers to enormous clusters of computing systems all operating together. Now, an AI factory can have huge computing demand and still waste it if processors can't communicate with each other fast enough. So NVIDIA is designing the networking layer alongside the compute and power architecture. And now the pieces, they start to fit together. NVIDIA supplies the compute and networking. It defines the power architecture. It provides the AI factory blueprint. And then its partners can build around that blueprint. Governments can use it nationally. And the financial institutions, they can all help fund the projects. And that creates the possibility of a flywheel where NVIDIA keeps removing more and more barriers to buying NVIDIA. Now, the goal here isn't for NVIDIA to own every part of an AI factory. No, the opportunity is to become the architecture that the different parts are built around. And that matters for the stock. I mean, a company selling a leading chip can still face a product cycle. But a company whose architecture influences how facilities are powered, connected, and financed, well, they could be harder to displace. Still, none of this is guaranteed. Customers can choose different networking suppliers, they can use competing accelerators, or even build their own infrastructure designs. And hyperscalers and governments, they also have to have enough scale to mix up suppliers when they believe it makes economic sense. So investors need to watch adoption, not just headlines. If major AI factories keep adopting NVIDIA's power, networking, and AI factory architectures alongside its accelerators, well, that would all suggest the strategy is working. And if suppliers keep building around those standards, NVIDIA's influence could spread without manufacturing every component. But if customers increasingly separate the layers, use competing architectures, or treat NVIDIA's surrounding infrastructure as optional, well, then that the strategy becomes less powerful. And that's the real opportunity behind the operating system idea. NVIDIA doesn't need to own the entire AI factory. It just needs enough of the architecture around the compute that the easiest path to large-scale AI increasingly runs through NVIDIA. Now, let's see what the analysts say. Well, a consensus among 47 analysts currently rate NVIDIA a strong buy with an average score, it's near perfect, 4.85 out of 5, and the rating is held over the past 3 months. And the score even increased over that time. The breakdown shows 43 strong buy ratings, 3 moderate buy ratings, and 1 strong sell. Of course, analyst ratings aren't what drive my conclusion here. I think NVIDIA is moving into a stronger position than the market may appreciate today. The GPU remains the economic engine, but every new infrastructure bottleneck just creates another reason for customers to stay inside NVIDIA's ecosystem. I mean, the strategy gradually changes how AI factories are designed, right? NVIDIA's moat becomes harder to attack if its power standards, infrastructure partnerships, and even its financing models become more and more widely adopted. And networking could even deepen that integration further, because at that point, replacing NVIDIA accelerators could mean redesigning much more than the computing layer. So the risk is that customers resist that level of integration. Hyperscalers and governments, they can mix up suppliers, they can develop their own infrastructure standards, or even use competing accelerators. So for me, I'm watching product adoption more than product launches. If NVIDIA keeps becoming the default architecture for these new AI factories, its infrastructure moat becomes more valuable than its GPU lead alone. But now I want to turn it over to you. Do you think NVIDIA can become that standard blueprint for AI factories, or will major customers deliberately keep the infrastructure stack open to competitors? Well, and before I go, did I get any of this right? Did I forget something? Let me know all of that and more in the comments below. And while you're there, if you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help others find the video. It supports the channel, and it makes sure that you don't miss out on my next deep dive. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again here on YouTube or in my community. Bye for now.